Alright, welcome. Richard Lee with Lee Fist Martial Arts. Today we have the Cold Steel Spontoon Hawk, new for 2020. So I'm going to try to cover all the new weapons and tools from Cold Steel this year. Started out with the Hawks. Last time we did, I think it's probably their best Hawk of the year. The Weeping Heart Hawk, pretty awesome. But today we're going to move on to the Spontoon Hawk here. Clearly you can see not a lot of perhaps working purpose, but clearly an excellent weapon, right? So many years ago, this is probably a good 10 years back. For those of you guys don't know, I do work on occasion with Cold Steel. Lynn Thompson is not only somebody I work with on occasion, he's actually a dear friend. We do train together at least 2 or 3 times a year, and I've been doing that for a while now. Lynn's been a huge supporter and a great friend. Obviously, he gives me a lot of tools to play around with, and all around a great guy. But one of the things that when I hang out with Lynn, he's got just a vast array of knowledge in martial arts. And we were talking about Japanese kabuto weapons, the Okinawan style weapons. And I did ask him, why he hadn't made some Japanese weapons. And he said he had thought about it. He had some prototypes, but it just didn't work out. And it's something that just kind of got pushed back. I've always wanted a sai and a kama. I know it's probably the ninja stuff. I grew up in the 80s, so love the ninja stuff. Love the kusarigama, the kyoketsu shogi, all the ninja weapons, and I've always wanted a kama. So fast forward 10 years, Cold Steel didn't make a kama, but per se, but that's awfully close. It's got a nice hawk bill. It doesn't come sharp. It comes pretty pointy, but you can make it pretty, razor sharp. I don't know if you can see that, but that is pretty razor sharp. And here's a great thing about it, is you can make it sharp not only on the bottom like a kama, but on the top as well too. That is, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's pretty darn sharp. It's got the nice hammer on the back, and that is a pretty sturdy beak there. Great for cutting this way and obviously that way too. So if you need to T-stop it, there you go. So it doesn't come sharp, but it doesn't take a whole lot to make it sharp. Obviously you can throw with it. We'll do some throwing later, and we'll do some, see how far this penetrates into this log here. So one of the things with the kusarigama that I wanted to try was to see, there's a couple different versions of kusarigama that I've seen. Some of them put the actual chain on top here and some on the bottom. So I'm going to try it here, I'm going to try it here. One of the things I've thought about is maybe taking one of these and taking that hammer pull off, so you really have just this section here. See how that would work out. So we'll try that out and just experiment, because these are so awesome, but they're cheap. I think the retail price is somewhere in the $50 range. You can get a lot cheaper than that. So a great tool. And like I've said in the other videos, I'm not a huge fan of just getting one hawk, especially if you're going to throw them or play around with them. I usually get 3 hawks to throw with, and a war one, and a couple ones to train with, and a couple ones just to modify. And speaking of modifications, this is one from Australia. This is a beauty. This is from a friend of mine in Australia. Reese Pollock made this one, and he customized it. And again, I have not a whole lot of artistic skill in this kind of area, but that's obviously pretty awesome. And that's what I like about these, is they're cheap enough to where you can modify them and have a couple extra for throwing or for whatever you want to do with it. So here, come on, get out of there. I had Cold Steel, and again, they're not going to do this for you guys, but they were kind enough to sharpen one for me, and I think this is pretty awesome. Clearly you can see you can get sharp. It is, whew, that is sharp. Very few weapons, when they come out of the box like this, where I go, oh boy, that's pretty scary. Most Cold Steel items come super sharp, but just this one modified, Clearly this is an incredibly dangerous weapon to handle, so not a weapon you'd want just laying around, and carrying it, it's going to be a problem. I'd get some kind of a sheath system, leather or Kydex or whatever, to cover that, because that, you're going to poke yourself, folks. So try to get that covered up. But awesome tool. We're going to throw with it, and we're also going to try the Kusarigama piece to it. So we're going to probably attach, it won't be a chain, it'll be a rope, and we have a dog toy, but you'll see that later. And I know that's part of why I'm wearing this. It's not just to be cool, but one of the things that, especially with the Kusarigama, if you're going to work with that, I'm a huge fan of having something in the belt, so that if you're using the Kusarigama, the rope is out, you've hit the target, or it's entangled, and now you get close, having another weapon, because now you got the kama part, or the, in this case, the tomahawk part. Imagine the rope is out and they're entangled, and now they're closing. This is great, but imagine having that, right? Imagine having that come out at the same time. So now you have this. This is the old Magnum 12 Tonto. I'll probably use the Securix sheath. This one's pretty nice, but you get the point. So imagine that. That's, if they come in close, that's a different option. So we'll play with that later. Let's get to throwing. Okay, so before we get to throwing, I'm just going to punch this in there and see how deep this goes. And then we'll get to throwing here in just a second. Okay, here we go. Ouchies. That is in there pretty good, folks. And even through this, it's cutting. That's a pretty good wound channel. It makes it nice and easy to get that out. That's in there at least that much. I'm not the biggest, strongest guy in the world, but it's getting that deep. So this is clearly a dangerous weapon, good punching power. And obviously we know that that's going to work pretty good, especially on the return. You can hit with a hammer pull, so that's pretty awesome. That is a dangerous weapon, folks. So let's get to throwing.